Hello guys, welcome all to this UI automation framework building from scratch part 4 session. So in previous lecture we have already discussed about how we are what all dependencies we are writing in our form.xml, and we have created one login scenario where we are validating the login flow, and also we are validating the dashboard current URL in order to validate it is successfully logged in or not. And we have separated all this initiating driver, click action, and performing some actions and validation. All those things we have separated. In our base page, we are maintaining the click actions, and page object model we are using the login page where we are having all the actions performed on this page, and also locators which we are locating, and all the action performed on those locator. And framework constant where we are defining all the constant static paths and accessing by the help of public methods. So we are defining all those paths in private and accessing those using the public access specifiers. And we have the driver class like driver factory, driver manager, where we are having the thread local. We are using thread local in case of parallel execution. So each and every driver has their each and every thread. So for that reason we are using this thread local, and driver class for initiating and the tear down or quit driver. So those method we have. So here I have used the if class. So if method I have used. So instead of that if loop, if you want, you can also go with a switch here. So basically you can use the switch. Okay, so here switch, inside that we can specify switch by browser, and here we can write case by specifying which browser we want to go with, and here driver. So this is wrong actually, like we should not initiate that driver with a static. So instead of that we can go with return and return the driver. When we are going with this kind of things, right, so we can, instead of following that returning driver instance, so we can just create a new instance of driver and return it. So that we can do. So that in that case, like we no need to mention that in the static. So here case of Firefox. So if the browser is Firefox, then we can mention Firefox. All these options are same, just we need to change it to Chrome options. Sorry, Chrome option to Firefox options. Firefox options. All these arguments will be same. Firefox driver, and we can also have the default where we are throwing the throw new label argument exception, where we are telling the browser is and the one we can do. Okay, so like this we can return that by using the switch statement. So this is sorted, and here like we have also saw how we can create the enum class and all, and we have seen the wait strategy. So where we are specifying the each and every wait, like click, visible, present, those all the strategies we are maintaining, and those all the things are there inside this wait strategy enum. And we have created the read property file where we are returning that value of that config properties, so that we are maintaining. So this we can delete. Okay, inside utils we can also have the, if you are reading from the Excel. So currently what we have done, so we are just having these methods where inside that method we are performing the, we are sending the keys, and we are getting that, we are passing that username. By fetching the username we are passing that. If you can see that orange.hrm page, Where is the login? So if you can see here, just fetching that username, fetching the password, and we are passing that one. So that is what we are doing it here. Split by 1 and 2 string, and then trim that username. We are passing it here by send keys. So instead of doing this one, if we already know the username and password, that we can store inside our Excel, and that we are mentioning it here, and that username and password we are passing it directly. So instead of this one, I can directly do admin, and this is our password, and company and all, leave it, but just for your reference. And here also we have this run manager. So whether that execution is yes or no, that based on that we are fetching the data. So we can write a code for that same inside our util. So I'll create an ExcelUtils. So we are fetching the data from the Excel file. So in order to fetch, so first we need to have one method which is public. So we are writing those, fetching the data in the form of map list and map string comma string, and import this class. Then import the list, get Excel data, and here we can write the sheet name, string sheet name. Okay. So we need to return this list of the key value pairs, list of key value pairs, so that we can get it from this method, from this class basically. So I can write, first I need to write the try. Inside try I will be having the file input string files is equal to new file input string, and that file path I need to give. So that is inside my framework constant dot get excel path. So this is my path, and I need to add a throw exception and catch it by runtime, during runtime. This is done. So if you don't want to write this, so we can also write the file not found exception inside. Instead of that IOE exception, we can write IOE exception. So if you write this one, no need to write this another try. So this is fine. Okay. So once we have this file, then we need to have the our workbook, XSF workbook is equal to new XSF workbook of inside that file as a parameter, and then we are writing XSF sheet is equal to workbook dot get sheet by the name of sheet name. Once we'll get the sheet, we need to verify whether we got the exact sheet or not. So for that, we'll do sheet. If sheet is equal to null, then in that case what we can do, we can null, or we can write sheet name equal to stage sheet. So if this stage sheet is not there, in this consider sheet is null. Okay, then we can, if it is null, then we can add the sheet as XSF workbook sheet is equal to workbook dot get sheet by data. Okay, so first we are passing it as stage data, then if it is not, sorry, my bad, it will be get sheet. Okay, so then we are verifying if sheet is not equal to null, then we can print it as instead of stage sheet we used a data sheet as a message, just for clarification. And once this is done, so once we get the actual sheet data, then we can do the int as last row is equal to sheet dot get last row int last cell int last row int last cell sheet dot get row of 0 dot get last cell none, then we'll get the last cell. So once we'll have this one, so we can go with the list of map of string comma string list, then we can say list is equal to new array list. Once this is done, so we can tell data formatter is equal to new data formatter. So once we have this one, then we can go with the for loop inside int I is equal to 0, I should be less than last cell last row and then I plus plus. So once we have this one, then we can go with a map string comma string map is equal to new linked hash map. Then once this is done, then we will go with another for loop where int j is equal to 0 and j should be less than last cell dot j should be plus plus, and post that we will identify if sheet dot get row of I not equal to null, then we can say continue. If not, then we need to come to this next line. Okay, so here inside this we need to have the cell and get data is equal to, so here we need to write sheet dot get row of 0 dot get cell of j and cell get value is equal to sheet dot get row of I dot get cell of j. So once this is done, we can write a string key is equal to data formatter dot, not this one, not equal to null, then not equal to null, and then we need to say data formatter dot format cell value of get hierarchy always null string value is equal to get value dot not equal to null. Then we need to define data formatter dot format cell value of get value always null. And once this is done, map dot put of key comma value. Then we need to, once this is done, so we need to store this in list dot add of map. Once this is done, we need to return that list. So this is how we are returning this map. And once we get this data, we need to add one more class which is called as a DataProviderUtils. So inside this DataProviderUtils, we need to write one data provider data. We need to write one class public list of, not list of, here we need to add an object get data. So here we need to sheet name, and here we need to pass parallel as to list of map of string comma string is equal to no. Then we are going to have list is equal to new list, and one more list with a value of a list of map string comma string result is equal to new array list. Here we'll get this. Here we will have the result map string comma string row is equal to if row dot here we have method in string test name is equal to m dot get name matching row test name dot equal signal case to row dot get of test name and yes dot equal in case to row dot get of execute. So in this both of the case, here I am returning matching row. Static we need to make. So in that case, like if data framework constant dot get data sheet add exception. So once we'll get this, then we are maintaining it in the form of list. Then we can tell matching row dot add of row. So once we'll have this matching row, we can dot to array. So once we do this one, that data whatever we have fetched, so that will get Excel data will come in the array form. So once this is done, so we need to maintain, we need to pass as a arguments here, like for if you are using the data provider, so then we need to mention data provider as get data and comma data provider class as data provider utils dot class. So if you are passing this one, then we need to pass it as map of string comma string data. Then we need to fetch the data dot get of user name, and here data dot get of password. So once we pass this one, so we have written the separate method for this string username and string password, and we are passing that username and password here. That is how we are maintaining it. And once this is like data provider name, so if you go to this ExcelUtils here, get data, and you can pass them data. So if you pass without this, you let us run without that basically. Okay, if I run this one now, so it is failing. With what reason it is failing? Illegal argument exception. Key to send should be or not null characters. So it is failing where we are passing the username and all. So for this reason, so here we are passing it as a get data that we need to set here also inside the provider data provider utils. So now if I run this one, name of the data provider get data. So here username is not there, email is there. So it got passed. Basically, that is the issue with Excel. It is not finding the key here. So we are given the key and it is now passing. So here it is directly clicking and not waiting actually to validate that whether it is clicking properly or not. And just write it. Thread sleep of 300 seconds, 3000 seconds, milliseconds. So now if I hit that one, it should basically pass. And click also should happen properly. Incorrect. Okay. We have not saved it, I guess. That might be a reason. Yeah. Let me try now. Yeah. It's saved and it is logged in also. So this is about today's lecture. So we saw like how we are providing the data provider and how we are fetching the data from the Excel and passing it in a username and password. So here like we can, instead of adding those all the things inside this data provider and all, so we have one more method like where we can add the annotation on each and every class basically, so that we can write by using annotation transformer. So that is the class. Like if I can create that one, that I need to create inside listener package, listener. Okay, so here I will create one class called as annotation transformer. Annotation transformer. Okay, so this need to be implements IAnnotationTransformer, transformer, so which has a method called as transformer. So this is the method. Public, not configure. So this is ITest annotation. That is why it is not covered. Dot set data provider class. We can data provider class, and then we need to have annotation dot set data provider get data. So once we define these things, then no need to mention inside this data name and all. This also we can remove, and also we can remove from the each and every methods. Here also no need to mention this thing. So if we simply click on what is the issue, so once we are writing these things annotation transformer, then we should have one test class here, text XML, so that we can create testng.xml file. So here we can write encoding UTF coding and suit. Inside suit we can write a suit name also. Name is equal to automation suit, and we can add a test here. So inside test we can add a class, classes, and inside this we can have a class name is equal to test cases dot login hrm, login orange hrm test and then we can close it. So here above this we can add a listeners annotation transformer, and if I save and if I run this one, login test, now it is able to log in. So if I save the other test now, here if I go inside this and admin 123, so if I save this again and if I run, you can see that difference. Admin 123. So this is it's fetching exactly from the Excel, so that we have identified, and how we can run it individually by providing the data provider class and all, so that we have seen. And if we don't need to, if we don't want to write this in each and every method by telling the data provider is this one get data, and also like data provider class is our data provider utils class. So if you don't want to mention these all the things, then in that case we need to write the annotation transformer, where we are using the transformer method and IAnnotationTransformer uh, like interface we are implementing, and we are using the iTest annotation. That annotation is setting the data provider name and data provider class, so which all class and name of the data provider we are using, and we are setting that inside the transformer, and that transformer we are writing inside our XML file. So we also saw that how we can create the XML file and how we can write the listeners, list the listeners we are using, and also we have seen how we can add the test name and classes inside that. So these are the things we have seen, and also we have uh, executed that, and we are getting the data from the Excel and we are using inside our inputs. So those are all the things we have seen. So that's it for this today's session. Thank you guys, and keep learning and stay updated. Bye bye.